Hello, my guys. Man, you know I love what I do when I get 2 videos in one day for you guys. Man, then you know I'm on some otherworldly stuff. You know that I'm feeling the vibes and the energy that I'm writing. I'm just like, man, I gotta get creating. I gotta start again. Because you gotta strike when the opportunity hits you in your head. You're like, oh, I should do this. You can't put any distractions or any resistances, because it's those resistances that come when you get an idea to go do something that will pull you away from that objective. And it's so easy to get pulled by those, my guy. So easy to get pulled by those. But like I said, I'm feeling the good spirit. I'm feeling the high energy just that comes with today, and being in touch with nature, being in touch with the very air surrounding me, being in touch with everything that's going on with the people around me, man. I couldn't do it without the years of discipline that I've already been on, checking myself, guys. And it is those that are checking ourselves every single day that are going to pick up what I say. They're going to pick up what I say, and they're going to see it for what it truly is. I'm so glad to be talking to you guys right now. I'm so glad. I'm feeling so good, like how I was at the beginning of this project, man. And now, just to see it slowly but surely start churning out, it's exciting, man. Look at this. Look at this behind me. See those? Look at the ocean's just churning, baby. Just dishing out everything it's got. He's just like, wave, wave. Here's a wave, there's a wave. You want more waves? I got waves all day, baby. I got waves all day. I be surfing all day. You ain't trip me up. I be surfing, baby. I surf that flow. Like it's just the way that I walk. Like it's just the way that I talk, bro. Man, look at that guy skimboarding down there. Just love it. Love seeing all these people trying new things. Boarding, skimboarding, surfboarding, bodyboarding. I love seeing it. Remember, what was the one thing that I said at the beginning? Which was that you gotta find the positive things within everything that's going on. Because it's so easy to let everything that's going up in here trip you up. But I know you can do it. I know you can do it, bros. Now the reason why I'm so excited right now and so just, like I said, on that vibration that's just keeping me going, is because we're about to get to the ending of this wonderful story that was given to John. And this ending is, it's good for everyone involved. It's good for Christ, it's good for John, it's good for the heavens, and it's good for us people right now listening as I guide us through the end, because this is where we're gonna know what to expect. We're gonna see what life is gonna be like once the baton has been passed, once the torch comes down. I keep using those terms, right? The passing of the torch, the giving the reins from the old to the young. It hasn't happened yet, even though it's supposed to happen. even though it's supposed to happen. And so for all of you youngins out there, that's why this whole self-care idea is going to get you far, because it's pulling you away from getting all tied up in the things that don't matter, and getting you on a way to prepare for how life is going to be soon, because it's not going to be this same thing that you think. It's not going to be this thing where we wait. You know what? We're just going to get into it. We're just going to get into it, baby. Yeah, because that's how I like to do it. I like to just dive in. So we are in chapter 20, Revelation, and we're going to start right at the beginning right now. And I saw an angel coming down out of heaven, having the key to the abyss, and holding in his hand a great chain. He seized the dragon, that ancient serpent, who is the devil, or Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. He threw him into the abyss, and locked and sealed it over him, to keep him from deceiving the nations any more until the 1,000 years were ended. After that, he must be set free for a short time. I saw thrones on which were seated those who had been given authority to judge, and I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded because of their testimony about Jesus and because of the word of God. They had not worshipped the beast or its image, and had not received its mark on their foreheads or their hands. Okay, the ones that skate out of this are the ones who did not worship the beast or its image. And that's how people are going to get deceived, because they're going to be like, oh, I wasn't worshiping the beast, but they're going to be like, well, yeah, but you were worshiping its image. Because remember, the beast also has an image of itself. And you guys need to think right now. You guys need to look around, because this beast and this image of this beast, it's already around you. And you do not want to be so foolish to be like, oh, I've been standing under it the whole time, because it's not going to fly. It's not going to cut it. And it's okay. It's okay if you have been. It's okay. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I got you through this. They came to life and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. That's the same amount of time that the dragon is thrown into the abyss and locked and sealed in there for the same amount of time. The rest of the dead did not come to life until the 1,000 years were ended. This is the first resurrection. So this is a lot of Christians who talk about the rapture and the first resurrection and the ones that are saved from the second death. Blessed and holy are those who share in the first resurrection. The second death has no power over them, but they will be priests of God and of Christ, and will reign with him for 1,000 years. Now, for some people that sounds, like to be a priest. I want you to think of something different. Just think of like a servant. Be a servant of Christ and a servant of God. It sounds what it's really going to be like. Because a lot of people, nobody wants to be a priest. Nobody wants to be in church for 24 hours a day. They just don't. And that's what keeps people from this idea of serving God, because they think that it involves, being a priest or, some sort of idea like that. When the 1,000 years are over, Satan will be released from his prison and will go out to deceive the nations in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, and gather them for battle. In number, they are like the sand of the seashore. They marched across the breadth of the earth and surrounded the camp of God's people, the city he loves. But fire came down from heaven and devoured them, and the devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur, where the beast and the false prophet have been thrown. They will be tormented day and night forever and ever. Now we know that the false prophet has also the ability to to make fire right in front of the presence of everyone. Possible that there's some confrontation between the three of them, and that this burning fire could possibly be from the false prophet, as he is in the lake of burning sulfur. That was just a quick pull out there. That possibly isn't where it comes from. Then I saw a great white throne, and him who was seated on it. The earth and the heavens fled from his presence, and there was no place for them. And I saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne, and books were opened. Another book was opened, which is the book of life. The dead were judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books. Now it doesn't specify which dead, because we know that the dead that come to life and reign with Christ for 1,000 years, they still have to go through this. Because what are these books? In this verse it says the dead were judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books. So I'm telling you guys, and I've told you this in my other videos, this is extremely important, because heaven has a library, and in that library are books of everything you've ever done, everything that you could possibly think of doing in other past lives, if you even think of past lives, any future life you can think of, it's all recorded in these books. And these are the books that are open. So that's what I'm telling you. If you think that you are going to get away from having your book read, you're not. You are not. And that is the kind of preaching that needs to be going on. Not this preaching of don't worry, Christ is taking care of it, yada boom. It's not that. It's your book. You're gonna have to read it. You're gonna have to face it. You're gonna have to sit down and open that book, and you already know what the content in there is, right? Come on, stop playing with yourself. Stop playing with yourself. That's not what men do. We don't play with ourselves. That's the same message I've been saying about staying away from pornography, staying away from masturbation, semen retention, no fap. Men don't play with themselves. Why are you playing with yourself, boy? Why? Why aren't you being truthful with yourself? Why, when your mind corrects you on something, are you saying, nah, you know, or there ain't gonna be none of that. There ain't gonna be no judge on me. There ain't gonna be no record of my actions or my thoughts. Try again. Try again, my guy. Then you have been severely lied to and severely deceived. Besides, as warriors and warrior culture, baby, you can't be playing with yourself in your mind. That's a matter of life and death. When it comes to you facing your first opponent, talking hand to hand, nobody gets out alive, that is when you're gonna wish that you had a right mindset. That's when you're gonna wish, man, I probably shouldn't have spent all my time playing with myself mentally, not being real with myself. If you're not real with yourself, how can you be real with anyone else? But you don't gotta. You just sit, you chill, because I'll get real with both of us. And that reality is that we have been seriously misled. And we have been seriously taken by the hand into a hole that only some of us are going to find a way out of. That's the reality of it, bros. That's the reality of it. Let's continue. Let's get it going. Let's get it popping. Popping and popping, because there ain't no stopping, baby. Verse 13. The sea gave up the dead that were in it, and death and Hades gave up the dead that were in them. Remember, Hades follows death, and they are not the same person. And each person was judged according to what they had done. Then death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. The lake of fire is the second death. Anyone whose name was not found written in the book of life was thrown into the lake of fire. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. So what is this? This new heaven. This is a heaven that is coming out of the spiritual into the physical. When all the way up until this point, human beings' only connection with heaven has been spiritual experiences where they are taken into another dimension that is heaven. The body is taken, the mind is taken into heaven, and they come back and try to relay this experience. So many people have had certain glimpses of this heaven, spiritual experience, right? And they try to get this out about it. But what we're seeing with John is different. We're seeing heaven coming into the physical. And I'm telling you, it's a much more real than you think. When you think, oh, heaven, what could that be? It's a ship, brother. It's a ship. Heaven is a ship coming down. That's what he saw, coming down out of the sky. It's a ship coming into Earth's atmosphere. And so if you take that concept, it becomes a lot more real if you also take in the concept that you are not the most intelligent species around. You have been lied to in thinking that you, as a human being, are smart chops. You're hot chops. Let me tell you something. Let me put you in your spot right now. You are not anywhere close to this idea that the internet and having access to Google and that search bar has made you think, because it has deceived you and put a veil over your eyes and made you think that you are the smartest human being there is. And I'm telling you, you are not. That there is heavens and whisperings in heavens that I won't use words to describe it, but I'm telling you, it's a lot more real when you at least understand that there's a possibility of another species being more intelligent, more smart, more knowledgeable, more wise than you are. Then it makes sense that, okay, maybe they could land a ship here. It's not this far-fetched idea. It's not this out-of-this-world idea. It's not, and that's what Christ is showing and saying, right? In my Father's house there are many mansions. You bet. I'm going to a place to prepare for you. And trust me, I'm coming back. He's already boarded and gone, and he's coming back in this ship. And you, I'm telling you right now, most of you ain't ready to go because you're still holding on. You're still holding on to your possessions, your earthly possessions. You're still holding on to all the stuff that you've acquired on your journey here, and it's not gonna be like that, man. That's why you got to get comfortable in your own skin. That's why you got to get comfortable with the people around you. But don't worry, because there are things on board this ship that will make living a lot easier. And by easy, I shouldn't use that word, more fulfilling, because easy has led us to believe that, an easy life is something that is something that where you don't have to work as hard, something that's kind of just skate. But that's not really the easy life that I'm talking about. I'm talking about a fulfilling life, a life where you don't have to worry about waking up and being depressed because you know what you're supposed to do from sun up to sundown. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Look, God's dwelling place is now among them, the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old order of things has passed away." He who was seated on the throne said, "I am making everything new." Then he said, "Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true." He said to me, "It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end." These instructions to John about writing things down and not writing things down is because as John writes these things down, they change the course of history, our future, which would be history. And so he has to not write at certain points and also write at certain points because God is still aligning it with the universal law of, I don't want to say free will because that's not what it is. There isn't really a word that I can use to describe it. So we're just going to continue on. Verse 6, he said to me, "It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To the thirsty I will give water without cost from the spring of the water of life. Those who are victorious will inherit all this, and I will be their God, and they will be my children. But the cowardly, the unbelieving, the vile, the murderers, the sexually immoral, those who practice magic arts, the idolaters, and all liars, they will be consigned to the fiery lake of burning sulfur. This is the second death." This is why we believe in our defendant, Christ. Because it is through him that we get to be his babies, baby. That's what I always say. What do I always say? I'm a soul baby, baby. One of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls full of the 7 last plagues came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb." This is John getting out of the table that he's been strapped to, out of the situation that he's been in. This is him finally getting to stretch his legs. "And he carried me away in the spirit to a mountain great and high, and showed me the holy city, Jerusalem, coming down out of the heaven from God. It shone with the glory of God, and its brilliance was like that of a very precious jewel, like jasper, clear as crystal. It had a great high wall with 12 gates, and with 12 angels at the gates. On the gates were written the names of the 12 tribes of Israel. There were three gates on the east, 3 on the north, 3 on the south, and 3 on the west. The wall of the city had 12 foundations, and on them were the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. 12 foundations of heaven, and on them were the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. That's why I'm telling you, a lot of people, why are pastors and preachers, okay? I've been talking a lot about the women in the church. Now I'm going to be talking about the men in the church and the pastors and the preachers. And they're still using Judas as this, as a story about, still just talking about how Satan can work its way into even, the circle, a strong Christian circle. And that's true. What I'm trying to hit on right now is that people argue about, like, oh, well, was Judas saved, and this and that, and they still read about Judas being the betrayer and stuff, but this shows his name's on one of the foundations. So you can't come at Judas like the way that you've been coming at Judas. You can't. You got to study these gospels, baby. You have got to see these gospels for the way that they are, because you've been preaching and getting people's minds twisted about the apostles, when all that matters is that they have their position in heaven. So if you think that you're gonna compare yourself to Judas, compare yourself, these people's names are written on the foundation of heaven. Get back, boy. Get back, girl. Hey. Oh, no, I'll finish later. I'll get back to you guys soon. We're almost done.